Years ago, I pastored a small country church, and among the people who attended was a little girl of about 7, whose parents would drop her off each Sunday and then drive on a couple blocks to a coffee shop where they would munch on donuts and drink coffee while their child got a dose of religion, which they apparently didn't feel they needed. One winter, conditions were particularly harsh, and we had established a system whereby we could let regular attenders know that we had canceled because of blizzard conditions. And one Sunday, a blizzard did strike. The younger families out on the farms were snowbound, and the older folks who lived in town didn't need to be trying to negotiate icy sidewalks and streets. But the young family that dropped off the little girl didn't know that. In fact, we didn't really know them. I didn't even know what the parents looked like. They drove up to the church, and even though there were no cars in the parking lot and no signs of life, they simply dropped their little girl off at the door and drove away. Fortunately, it was a small and trusting town, so the church wasn't locked, and she was able to get inside out of the storm. But what she found was a cold, dark, empty church. Fortunately, there was another young family that somehow hadn't gotten the word that day and had driven in. And for some reason, they went into the church even though, again, the parking lot was empty. And there they found the frightened little girl, whom they quickly returned to her parents, who were munching donuts and drinking coffee a couple of blocks away, completely unaware that they had essentially abandoned their child. Most parents, thank God, are not that inattentive, but the church has accidentally created a system which has separated adults from the spiritual formation of their children by adopting the same system as secular schools. It allows parents and other adults to basically drop their kids off at Sunday school class and leave it to others to tend to their spiritual formation and education. And frankly, it hasn't worked that well. We need to get back to the concept of spiritual formation and Christian education as a family endeavor in which the church engages all generations together. This is important stuff that children should see adults doing, not just a few teachers, but all adults, and especially their parents. It's vital work they should do together. A church should be a family of faith that sustains and encourages the families within it. Let's be that church for one another. If you're not currently part of a Sunday school class, and especially if you have kids in grades 6 through 12, please prayerfully consider joining what we're going to call the Reform class. Even if you don't have kids, consider joining and sharing both your experiences and your struggles. You could be a blessing to someone else, and that's the best way to be blessed yourself. Join the Reform class.